I don't even have to watch a clock. I don't even have to watch a clock. I don't even have to watch a clock.
Hello. Thank you so much for listening to the Bold Moves podcast. I'm the host, Mandy Bryce, and I am super excited for episode number 117 for you today. I spoke with Samah Damanhoori, who is an amazing young woman from Saudi Arabia who is an entrepreneur and an immigrant and doing incredible things to help better the lives of other people in her situation or a similar situation, and is absolutely changing the world. I'm super excited for you to hear her story. There may be a little bit of fuzz when she speaks. We couldn't figure out what was making the noise, but her story was too important, amazing, and impactful not to share. So if we're unable to edit it and clean it up perfectly, please excuse that. And without further ado, enjoy the story of Samah Damanhoori. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bold Moves podcast. I am with Samah, who has a beautiful name and a beautiful meaning behind her name. Welcome to the show, Samah.
Thank you, Mandy.
It's so great to have you on. Why don't you tell me what you just told me about your name, both first and last?
Well, my name is Samah, and it's an adjective in Arabic, means forgiveness. Last name is Damanhoori. Damanhoori is a name of a city in Egypt that has a huge history related to the Islamic history.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Now, of course, you know that the show is called Bold Moves, and you're on the show because you've made some yourself. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your story and why you're here?
So I am from Saudi Arabia, and women in Saudi Arabia, they cannot work, study, or even cross the border of Saudi without a male permission or a male guardian.
Wow.
So I finished my bachelor and I applied for the Saudi scholarship and I got accepted. But it took me a year and a half to cross the border of Saudi and come here without a male guardian because my father was against the idea that I come here without a male guardian and study by myself. So he asked me to find a mahram, which is a male guardian, like get married, or find like a relative that can come with me. So it was really hard to find one. And I was able to convince my father to come here alone and live around my sister. So I came. Within a month or so, he got angry and he told everyone that I ran away and I escaped, which wasn't the plan. And my sister went back home because she couldn't find the university acceptance. So,
Okay.
and she was very jealous of me staying here and got accepted at the university here in the Bay Area. So she even made it worse. She told my father that I became an infidel and I'm not following the Islamic rules and so forth. So he ordered me that I should go back home to Saudi, get married, and then I can do whatever I want. And I was in the middle of my studies. So I told him, let me just finish my master's and then I can just go back home. He got even angrier. He canceled the scholarship and he left me here with little to nothing.
Oh my goodness.
I asked my mom to help me. She said it's not her problem. And she blocked me like almost a year ago. I went asking for help from my uncles, my aunts. No one was supporting me. I was left here alone, literally. Like no support from family, relative, no one back home except my siblings. And my siblings, they have, mostly no power. So I wanted to give up. I was going to let go of everything. And I was just, I felt that I was useless. And because that's what my family made me believe, that if I don't follow their rules, if I don't get married, I'm nothing, and nothing good will ever happen to my life.
Wow.
So I applied for asylum, and then I got help from everyone here in the Bay Area. The Catholic Orphanage House, they provided a house and a food. Um, um, people, they give me a car. Business owners, they pay tuition at the university. Powerhouse Gym, they offered free boxing classes just to take the stress out. I was getting my master's in creative writing at Notre Dame Dinamo in Vermont. They never when they hit my they gave me a job as a student assistant so I can have money to pay for my everyday expenses. Um, One of my short fictional story. There are people who really liked it, and right now we are working on it. We're turning it into a short 3D animated movie, and
Cool.
they believe that once we're done with that, that we can make also a feature film, a comic book series, and a video game. I became a speaker. I go to schools and companies to inspire people and motivate them. I'm publishing my own book very soon. It's going to be a memoir, a collection of personal essays about my life back home and here in the Bay Area.
Wow. So that's quite a turnaround from a couple years ago that you have experienced. So I'm going to back us up a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you hear that? Okay, so I want to backtrack just a little bit because obviously your story has a lot of fascinating parts. Now, first of all, how did you convince your dad to finally let you come to the United States without a male escort?
He got convinced of the idea that I'm not going to be here completely alone since my
Okay.
sister and her husband are here. So he was like, okay, you can go and study abroad in one condition if you live around your sister.
Okay, so how close did you have to live to your sister?
Oh, we lived at the same compound,
Okay, all right. Were you roommates or just in the same building?
in the same building.
Okay, got it. And were you, I'm from, or I lived in the Bay Area for a couple of years, so I know you're in school in Belmont, you said. Did you live in Belmont? Did you live in the city? Where did you live?
So when I came here to the US, I lived in San Jose for 3 months, and then I lived in San Francisco for 2 years.
Okay.
Right now, I live in Redwood City.
Okay, very nice. I moved from Mountain View a couple months ago, or
Oh,
about a month and a half ago, so I'm familiar.
yeah.
Okay, so then what kind of happened? I'd like a little more details on the breakdown between, your sister being supportive, your family being supportive, and then all of a sudden that all changing.
Um, well, it didn't change, suddenly. It
Right.
changed gradually, but I never thought that they were really abandoning me. I never
Okay.
thought that this will happen. I thought they will get angry for a day, a month or so, and then, they'll understand that I really wanted to finish my master. But it turned out very ugly. Uh,
Yeah.
and it taught me a lot. It taught me that um, my parents are really going through a lot because they've been raised in a country that is culture based and religion based as well, and they couldn't make their dreams come true.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't know how to communicate very well, and their only language to show me that they are in pain and they really need help is just being, aggressive and angry.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I launched the website. I called it We Are Saudi. We have wearesaudi.org, wearesaudis.com, wearesaudis.net. So each website focuses on, specific part to help the Saudi community. For example, wearesaudi.org will help Saudi mentally and emotionally by providing emotional videos and exercises for women to do it at home to take all the stress out because gym is like a taboo for women back home. And there is another website that is focusing on creating a forum just for Saudis to express their feelings and make Saudis to accept the non-Muslim or the ex-Muslims of Saudi. Because once you're not Muslim, you should be killed back home. And the third one is about news and what's going on right now in Saudi and how, like for example, recently Saudi government allowed women to drive, and it didn't happen like that because women drove and went to prison for it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow, I can't imagine. So you went from what sounds like an extremely oppressive environment, maybe one of the most oppressive in the world to the Bay Area, which is probably one of the most free places in the world. How did that adjustment feel to you when you moved at the beginning?
At the beginning, I was in a huge mess. It was very scary. I didn't know what to choose. Should I like just simply let go everything back home? Like,
Mm-hmm.
the way I talk, the way I dress, the way I think, the way I believe in life, God, nature. And I was like, if I let go all of that, am I gonna be totally different to the extent that, Saudis will never accept me? Um, and at the same time, I was like, what if I kept what I came with, the culture and all that from Saudi, and I live here? Am I gonna be accepted from the people here in the Bay Area? And I was like, in this situation, they were like, okay, today I'm gonna be Saudi, tomorrow Westernite, and I was like coming and going. It was really difficult.
Sure.
But then the more I focused about what do I really want and what I felt like doing at that moment, the more I, got accepted in both cultures,
Sure.
Saudi and the Bay Area.
That's probably something that's true anytime someone's torn between two things. If you really just follow your heart,
Yes,
probably everyone would
true.
accept you more. Um, so, at the current moment, are you in contact with anyone in your family, or is that relationship pretty much not existent right now?
It doesn't exist anymore. I'm only in contact with my siblings. That's all.
Okay. Do you have hope and faith that eventually your parents and other relatives will come around, or do you feel like that kind of has passed?
I'm still hoping for that. I was supposed to graduate only to think, but I postponed that to next year. And I told my family that I postponed it for them. But I really hope if they can come and be here for me.
For your graduation, did you say? It cut out for a second?
Yes,
Okay. Well, I hope that happens for you for sure. Would you say that the websites that you've created are for Saudis who are in the United States or all around the world, or specifically in Saudi Arabia? Or
it's
what
it's
was your
for
goal?
both. It's
Okay.
for both. It's for us, the Saudi refugees all over the world, to express our feelings and our experiences.
Hmm.
To teach the people, to teach Saudis in Saudi, and at the same time to help Saudis, like it's either outside Saudi or inside, to be just themselves. Because we live in a country that we have to just follow rules all the time, which is, religion wise or culture wise.
Okay, I can see that that would be a valuable resource for a lot of people then. Do you still practice Islam, or have you stopped that?
Yeah. I
Um,
no longer follow any religion.
that was going to be my next question, is if you've converted to something else or if you just kind of are doing a different path. Okay. So I'm curious, if you don't know this, it's fine. A lot of people don't, but I always like to ask people if you know your purpose. And if so, what is your purpose?
It's so clear in my mind. Even when I was going through a lot and when everything was just going away and my situation was getting worse and worse and worse and worse, I told myself, that's it. I had enough. I'm just going to go back to Saudi and ask for my father for forgiveness, which what he was looking for. But then
Right.
there's a clear voice in my head was telling me to wait. Just wait. Just wait. Just wait. And when everything just worked out, the image started to become clearer and clearer in my head to the extent right now I believe I am here, and I come from a really damaged family, and everything happened for me because I am going to change the Saudi history. I will help people back home to believe in themselves and just make their dreams come true and make, Saudi Arabia a better place to live at. That's what I really want to do.
So does that mean you intend on going back at some point?
I don't know.
Sounds like that would be really dangerous from what
It's very dangerous. I don't think so. I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna go back, but
Okay.
I'll do whatever I can do from here to help, change the rules and have a better life in Saudi.
Well, if you're successful, it'll eventually be safe for you to go back. Then you have to go and celebrate with your family when they've forgiven you.
Well, it's not only about the family because I left the religion, and if I go back, the government will definitely just kill me because that's against also the government rule and the religion.
Right, but I'm saying if you're successful and you change Saudi the way that
Oh
you want it
yes.
to,
Oh yeah. Oh
then
yeah.
it'll eventually be safe. So I'm curious because I've had some friends who've practiced Islam, and I know that a lot of what Muslims deal with is changing the stereotypes that the world has on them as being terrorists, as the oppressive parts that you're saying are with the Saudi government. But my understanding of Islam as a religion is overall it is very peaceful, and it is similar, I guess, to Christian religion or Judaism or anything where above all you're supposed to be a good person, love one another, which doesn't seem to coincide well with the laws that are keeping you out of your home, basically. How does that work? Is that specific to Saudi Arabia? Is that the actual laws of the religion that are being practiced? Like, how is that the law, I guess, is my question.
You mean in Saudi, right?
Yeah.
Because Saudi, they went to the extreme
Okay.
with the religion, and they chose specific verses from the Holy Book, the Quran, that it's very extreme. But like you said, Islam is like any other religion. It motivates people to be peaceful and do everything with love. Um, but, oil happened in Saudi.
Yeah.
Right, right. It's about controlling the people and making sure that, they are safe and secure.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I guess that's something that even like probably all religions have people who take one word or phrase or verse and make it, the law when that's one small thing and they just take it to the extreme, like you said. So that's totally understandable. And there's always groups that make the whole group look bad by doing exactly that. So
Yeah,
that
true.
that makes sense. So I'm curious, what's the scariest thing you've ever done? Because it seems like you've done a few things that a lot of people probably just wouldn't because they would be afraid.
The, the scariest thing? Right now, I'm leading a whole animation project, which is whenever I tell anyone, they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is not easy. This is hard. It's really hard to make an animation." But every day, every once in a while, a new member just joined the team. To the extent right now, I have 7 people who are working on it.
Sure.
Um, I am 29, but I'm almost gonna have my own business very soon. That's
Mm-hmm.
not also very bold and courageous. Um, I do whatever I feel like doing. Like I'm ready to try skydiving or like hiking or whatever I feel like doing. It's just I don't feel scared anymore.
I was going to ask you if you even feel the fear because it was funny to me that I, heard your story and then even just the entrepreneurial aspect of it is obviously amazing. What you're doing with your short story and turning it into the animation and all of that. But to me, I guess the cultural thing is a lot more impactful because I've always lived in the United States and had, so many freedoms that I'm sure I even take for granted that I'm thinking like, okay, moving away from my family and having them reject me sounds terrifying, and deciding to give up the religion and if I ever go home someone's going to want to kill me, that sounds terrifying. And you went straight to animation. So I'm like, what is she afraid of?
Actually, pretty much nothing. Really, nothing right now. It's just I got even more excited and doing more great things. To
Yeah.
the to the extent recently, people from Modoc County here in California. They reached out to me. They told me that they don't have a university, and I went crazy. I was like, then let's build a university. And right now we're having meetings, and I met some professors at a specific university, and we're having meetings, and we're building a university there. Like I just want to do. I don't see big things as obstacles anymore. I
Yeah.
see it as a way that if we keep working on it, it's gonna work one day or another.
Well, I feel like you're the perfect example of the whole reason behind this podcast, which is the idea that the more you step outside of your comfort zone and the more you do even baby step bold moves, it's going to grow, and then soon you'll be doing big things and you won't even feel that fear anymore. So you're the perfect example of that. I love it.
True. Even in my writing process, when I write and suddenly I'm stuck with ideas and I don't know how to become more creative, what
Yeah.
I do to become more creative and have, even crazier ideas or more fictional stories
Yeah.
is to do the opposite of who I am at that moment.
Okay.
For example, go out and, hug a stranger or whatever I feel at that moment that I'm really scared, or I was like, no, that's not me.
Yeah.
I do it, and then creative ideas just popped up in my head.
That's amazing. You're like the poster child of the Bold podcast right now. I love it. So my next question was going to be is if like we're best friends and I'm thinking of doing something that really scares me and I'm like, how do I get past this fear? Is that the advice you give, or how
Oh
would you
yeah.
tell me? So you just
Oh
say
yeah.
whatever you're afraid of, do that?
Yeah, do the unusual, and you're gonna feel great, really.
I love that. I love that so much. Okay. So, if people are listening and obviously I'm sure fascinated by all of the different things you're doing, and it seems like every 2 minutes you're like, oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention I'm starting a university. Like, what are you not doing? If anybody is listening to this and they want to keep track of you and see the amazing things that you accomplish, where can they find you online to follow your websites, your social media? Where can we see what you're doing?
Um, well, I have right now a website for the animation, a website for me, website for the Saudi, We Are Saudis. I have
Okay.
my social private media account. They can follow me anywhere they can because I'm gonna update all of it.
Okay.
And by the way, I did not tell you the animation story.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Okay, so it's
Stop holding back here. All these secrets are coming back up later.
the animation story is about a white paper
Okay.
that used to live in a world that made of paper, and the only color they know is white.
Okay.
And they made them believe that if they touch any new color, it's poisonous. Therefore, their heart will change into gray, and they should be cut by the scissor to just make them die faster and not go through the pain. And they were not allowed to leave this world. Only few papers were allowed to leave the world, so they can bring more papers to the world to build stuff with.
Okay.
The main character is the long paper. He was one of the few papers that were allowed to leave the world.
Okay.
Um,
Sounds like a familiar story.
I know, right? I think I heard it before. Um, so he went out as usual. The guards gave him today's task and a map. He was going out, and then a hurricane happened. It took him to a new world. It's very colorful. At the beginning, he was very scared to touch any color, but curiosity was stronger than anything. So he started to touch colors. He became colorful, except one place was white, his heart. He found his way home at the end, and he chose to go home to show his son and everyone that being colorful is not poisonous.
Mm-hmm.
And, look at my heart. It's not gray, it's white. So he would go and give himself to the guards, and the guards would take him to the king to be sentenced to be cut by the scissor. And I'm going to leave it here for you to watch the movie.
Okay. I was going to say, I hope she doesn't give us the ending because I want to watch it. Okay. So, of course, in the show notes, I will put all of the links that you mentioned. But is there one kind of hub where you share kind of a little bit of everything that you're doing that if someone's listening, they can remember and go to that later?
Oh, yeah. It's my own website, samah, damanhoori.com.
Okay, perfect. So that'll be in the show notes too, and people can keep an eye on there. Do you have an email list too where you'll update people as things happen?
Oh yes, yes,
Okay, perfect. So people can
yes.
sign up for that.
Oh yeah, I would love actually for people to sign up. So whenever something new, I just can just share it with them.
Yeah, great. All right, so speaking of reading updates, I'd also love to hear if you have any books that you've read that you would recommend to our listeners or viewers.
My favorite author is Paulo Coelho. Like I wait for his books every year and I buy it. He inspires me a lot because he always only talk about women as their main character.
Mm-hmm.
And it taught me a lot. It taught me to always put myself in others' shoes, which is a male or a female. And
Yeah.
it made me understand a lot. And it got me to a point that, I believe that we are equal.
Mm-hmm.
We go through the same pain, through everything. It's just the same.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Gilbert, she's amazing. One of her famous books is Eat, Pray, Love.
Mm-hmm.
The way she talks, the way she sees life is really life changing as well.
Fantastic. Now I'm going to go back to Paulo Coelho because I've only read The Alchemist, and I'm probably not in the minority with that. And I remember that main character being male. Are the rest of them female?
Oh yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
what
The
if,
rest of them.
okay. So if somebody else is listening and they've only read The Alchemist, where would you say is a good second Paulo Coelho book to read? Do you have a favorite?
Oh yeah, it's called Aleph.
Okay. All right. So that will be next on my list then. Thank you for sharing that. I'm curious, it seems like in 29 years you've packed a lot of learning and wisdom into that time. Are there any life lessons that you've learned that you would like to share, or something that you wish someone else would have told you a long time ago? Just any general advice for the listeners or viewers?
Um, yes, I think we focus on the bigger image more than looking into myself and at what I really wanted. So, for example, when my scholarship was canceled, the biggest dilemma is to find money to pay off my debt. Otherwise, my visa would be canceled and I would be simply just deported out of the country. And I was working on that, situation and trying to find people to support me, but it was not working. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Why is it not working? And then I have discovered that the more we focus on fixing ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
what we really need, everything else is just going to work by itself. And what my main problem is, I was looking for a support system and I was looking for people that I can call family.
Mm-hmm.
And I seriously just ignored all other problems. I ignored my mother, my parents, I ignored everything that was happening outside of my control. And I focused on finding the right people that right now I can call them family. And once I found that, once I fulfilled what was missing inside me, seriously, everything else just worked. People started to call me like, hey, we want to pay off your debt. Hey, we want to give you a house. We want to give you a car. We want to. Just because I focused on really what I wanted to do. And I started doing that by the simplest steps. I, let's say every day I drink coffee, but I hate it. And because I'm busy fixing my situation at the university, I did not change the simple thing. So if we change the simplest things that we do every day that we don't like, but because our minds are busy and in something else, it will never work. But once we change the little things, everything else is just going to work by itself.
Interesting. So I was going to ask that too, and I'm glad that you bring that up because it seems like such a widespread variety of people came to your aid. How did you make that happen? What were the things you were focusing on? You just decided you wanted to make friends? How did you build that network of people who eventually ended up helping you so much?
And people really believed in me and they trusted me at the same time. Because even when I approached people, I
Mm-hmm.
don't approach them in a way that, oh, help me, I'm desperate, I really need help. No, I approach them in a way that, hey, this is what I'm going through, and I would love to hear what you're going through, and let's, exchange things. So
Mm-hmm.
if you help me with that, I would help you with listening or, whatever I was capable of doing at that moment. So mostly people are very selfish. When they are going through a lot, they were like, this is what's going on in my life, and I am the worst person in the whole world, and you'll never understand what I'm going through. It's difficult, you'll never understand, but it's wrong. All of us were going through something. It's
Sure.
simply, this is life. No one is happy all the time, and no one is really bad all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if we understand that it's all mutual help, mutual understanding, and the acceptance, because people, they were like, oh my gosh, you're strong, you're great, but once they see a defect, they were like, oh gosh, she's not perfect, let's just leave her, I don't want to be around her. But hey, I'm a human.
Right.
I do mistakes. So and for me to find this huge support system, because I also understood them when they were showing me their defects and their down moment.
Mm-hmm. Who did you approach when you were looking for the support system? Was it just anyone you met? Did you have a systematic way of finding certain people, or how did that work for you?
I started with the university, my supervisor at the university who introduced me to another person who worked at the university, and then they started to introduce me to more people. At the same time, I was going to business events
Mm-hmm.
and just talk out about what was going on in my life. And I was just trying to find people that I can click with and bond.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. That's great. And that was the day-to-day thing you were trying to change too, is just you kind of needed friends and you needed people to feel like family. So that was kind of the coffee in your previous example. And then it ended up
Yes,
working out for you much better, even more than you expected.
sure.
I love that. That's fantastic. Okay, so my last question is one of my favorites to ask. If you were 8 years old and looking in a crystal ball and you could see yourself at 29, on a scale of 1 to 11, how excited would you be to be where you are right now?
1 to 11, I say 100. I'm very proud of myself today, and I'm very excited. Even though when I was 8, I was really, determined that I should do something. I
Sure.
should do something big, but I never knew what was the big thing that I should do.
Yeah.
But today, I'm speechless actually. Sometimes within myself, I was like, great, what next?
I love it. And I can't wait to see what happens next for you because it seems like you have a lot of really exciting things in the pipeline. So we'll definitely be following your story to see
Thank
where
you.
you. Yeah. Thank you so
And
much. Go ahead.
yeah, and by the way, there are producers from LA that reached out to me who
Okay.
are interested in making my life into feature film. So
Awesome.
we're talking right now. We're discussing, and we'll see what's going to happen in the future, near future, actually, like a year or so.
Excellent. Well, if you come down here, I'm in LA, so we'll have to grab tea or coffee
We
or lunch
should.
or something.
We should. We should.
Catch up a little less formally. I'd love to hear your story,
Absolutely, yes.
chat more. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for what you're doing in the world, and thank you for taking some time to share that with my audience and I really appreciate it all.
You're so welcome, and thank you for having me in your show. And it's really nice meeting you in person. And I'm really excited to meet you, and actually in LA very soon.
Yes, I look
And
forward to that.
whenever you are in the Bay Area, please just hit me up and let's meet.
All right, that sounds good. I know I'm going for Thanksgiving. I don't know how long I'll be there, but
Oh,
yeah, if we can potentially make that happen.
great.
I don't know about you, but I felt like it was just one thing after another and that she was going to just keep coming up with more accomplishments. And I know that if we follow her story and stay in touch with her, that we're going to see that she is going to really just do exactly that. I was so impressed and amazed. Hopefully the buzzing sounds didn't bother you too much. I thought it was worth listening to. I hope you did as well. Stay tuned for Friday, and an easy way to stay tuned would be to subscribe, because Samah has a challenge for you, which you should definitely be ready for. Also, please share this with anyone who you think could benefit from hearing her story. I imagine there are a lot of people who would be super inspired by it. So share this out on social media, share it to individual friends, but let's help get the word out about the amazing things she is doing. I'd also love it if you would leave a review on iTunes. That is a great way to show the algorithms that Apple has that our podcast is worth listening to. It's a team effort, and I want to inspire as many people as I possibly can to follow their dreams, just like Samah is inspiring people in Saudi Arabia that they can follow their dreams as well. So that is a grand goal, but we can do it with your help. So make sure you please help us with that. I'd love to hear from you. You can go to my website, www.mandiem.com/episode 117. That's where you're going to find all of the websites that we were speaking about, as well as links to Samah's favorite books and to her social media. But you can also find my social media there, or you can comment on the episode and let me know what you think. I'd love to have more of a dialogue about each episode and with my listeners, so I can know who you are and where you're coming from. All right. I hope you loved that as much as I did. And as always, be bold and have a sparkly day. Bye-bye.